Welcome back to another episode of Courtside with Callie Wheeler, presented by Walker Brothers Chevrolet, the first of 2024. And Happy New Year to all of you. Happy New Year to you, Coach Wheeler.
Happy New Year to you as well.
You look like a genius with that brutal non-conference schedule you put together, but you guys are playing, obviously, the best basketball to date with the biggest opportunity we'll get to that eventually, on the horizon. But in terms of what you have done, in terms of taking care of your business, the last six have been pretty good, and maybe Clarion the last time out, the best to date, period.
Yeah, our girls are playing confident. They're playing together. We've defined some roles. We found a system that works, and they're playing great together. And that's what you want going into Conference West matchups, is that the team's playing on both sides of the ball together, and I think we've accomplished that. Obviously,
Jillian Fisher had a monster night, but obviously, sometimes you get sucked up. 27 points is great, a career high. Blew her previous career high out of the water. But you and I had talked post-game. It was more than just that. It was a five-tool impact. She was efficient. She was a distributor. She was a defender. Obviously that's an unrealistic ask every night. But I do think there is a common denominator. And there's no shame in this. There are NBA players that are this way. She's one of those players that you have to get going early, and that's exactly what happened, and she never cooled off.
Yeah, and I think where she's getting started is on the defensive end. I mean, she's averaging the most steals she ever has in her career. She's doing a great job on the defensive glass, and I think that's propelling her offense. That's building her some confidence going into us offensively, schematically, and she's making shots. And when Jillian can make shots, now she can go inside, outside, but she also was a playmaker. I mean, they were coming out pressuring her, trying to take her shot away, and she had some great passes, post-entry passes.
Yeah, and of course that horns look you have where she steps out, and that's what makes that offense so unique, is because she can shoot it from there, she can put it on the floor from there, and she's a good enough passer, because that defender has to close with a hand, and that's going to create a lot of stuff behind it, and that's where she becomes a distributor.
Yeah, I think that's where she plays her best basketball, is in that high post area. Early we were putting her down low, and she just didn't look comfortable there, so we pulled her out. She's one of the best shot makers in the league, and when she catches fire, it's hard to guard her at all three levels.
Now, this is what you call in our business a segue. I think one has to do with the other, Haley Sims included. You and I, we talked, a lot about power outages and whatnot. I think that your offense looks a lot more natural. Mm-hmm. There's far less. And when we talked about the power outages, whether it was in person or watching it online, you just felt like that's not what you're trying to do. What's different now that it just looks a lot more fluid? It looks more like basketball. And let's be honest, it looks a lot less like work, and you're turning the ball over a lot less as a result.
I think Mara Suman has done a great job of stepping up and being our point guard. She's doing a great job of facilitating. Haley and Morgan are two of the best wings in the conference, and early we put the ball in Morgan's hand, and that's just not her natural position. And having her and Haley on the wings, and then you have a scorer in Jillian Fisher that could score at all three levels. I think Mara's been a big turnaround for us by getting us into offense, understanding, who needs touches, what should we run in this situation, and I think they're all playing off of each other, which is not what we had early. We were all looking for somebody to score it. Now they're looking to distribute it and feed each other.
Yeah, more often than not, it's the extra pass. And I feel like that's been – and I don't know if that just is because it's the offense is running as smoothly as it is, or it's because everybody's sort of getting theirs. And you know this from being a player – when somebody doesn't have it. You become reluctant. You don't want to – even though that may be their shot, they haven't made that one in 2 weeks. And it just feels just as if it is almost as freelance pickup, where it's not as much. I think work would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have our sets that we go into, but I think what's really starting to work for us is they're playing off of each other. They're cutting to the basket if they're being heavy denied. If they got a mismatch, they're looking to exploit that mismatch, and that's what you want as a coach. You want them out there playing off of each other, but not always having to be in a set to score. And the other day at Clarion, they were doing a great job of just playing off of each other.
That's the one thing. You said something, and you and I have similar philosophies, and you said that you didn't like the fact that you allowed so many threes. And I rewatched the game, and I thought, I don't really know how many threes you allowed. I think it was more threes that, Clarion settled for. And I know analytics be damned. I know a lot of people are going to, but unless you're shooting more than 33% from three, I'm okay with you giving up 25 threes a game. That's a big number to make. And, since you watched the game, are you okay with your defensive effort? Because this is 2 times out. You've been with the final score number being where you want to be, and there's different paths to get there. Are you turning people over, or are you forcing them to miss shots and you're rebounding and you're going the other way? When you look at the Clarion game and the previous timeout, we had a similar number on the board. Same effort, different result, different path. Or are you pleased where you are collectively defensively?
I would like for us to be better at guarding the perimeter, and specifically the three-point line. We're not doing a great job of, defending that. And coming into this week, we're playing 2 of the top 3-point shooting teams in the league. So, building off of Clarion, I agree with you. I think that we gave them some of those shots that, they necessarily weren't efficient from. But leading up, every game we want to try to get a little bit better. And I think that we still haven't really peaked yet. And defensively is an area where if you want to be one of the top teams in the league, you got to be able to defend from the perimeter all the way down in. And right now, I would like for us to be better at the perimeter because we're going to go up against 2 of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league.
The other thing that I thought that you guys did really well, in particular against Clarion and the 3, it felt like a lot of threes were coming with 3 and 4 seconds on the shot clock. So not all threes are equal. Yes,
right.
If they go in, they are.
Yeah.
But if you're forcing a semi-contested 3 with 4 seconds left, even if it doesn't go in, that's a winning defensive possession.
Just always seems like they're going in against us.
It
just always seems like they're going in. So for me, I just, it's one of those things where you play great defense for 27 seconds and then someone hits a 3 on you and, it's like, those 3 seconds we could have just been there a little bit quicker on the closeout, with a hand up. But I think my girls had a great job, and there's always things that I'm going to pick out that we can get better at. And they're doing a really good job of trusting me with, the schematics and understanding the areas we need to improve upon.
Now, obviously, you've won 6 straight, and we'll get to Gannon in the next segment, and UPJ, obviously, another factor in West play. But, you've been around this for a long time. I've been around this for a long time. No team picks up a trophy. No team advances without consistent role play off the bench, because somebody's going to get dinged up. There's going to be a night in February where you just need that spark. We've seen Hope Garrity do it in limited, but overall bench-wise, because we're now talking big picture. This is January. We're in a conference play. Are you okay? Are you pleased? What's your evaluation of your bench play to date?
I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. And, going back to your first question, what's the difference? I think that's the difference. I think Ashton Boggs, Jenna Babay, Lauren Mullen, Hope Garrity, Ava Haddad, they've all proven that they can all come in and provide that spark for us. Even Bailey Brinson, she had early minutes early on. They all could come in and provide something, and that's what we need going into the depth of the season, is that bench experience. And I think that both teams we play this week have that, and I'm really confident where we are with our bench.
Now, I know, because I've known you a long time, it's gotta kill you a little bit that you're not running up and down like you played and like you've coached. This is a different dog, but this dog barks pretty well. I mean, this is a total 180 for who you are as a player and who you've been as a coach. How weird of a transition has this been? Because I think it had more to do with the players than the scheme. But how difficult or how weird, how strange of a transition has this been?
It's been strange, but at Edinboro, we have to do things a certain way, and we don't have the luxury that everybody else has with, recruiting tools and budgets and things like that. So my job every year is to take the pieces that are in front of us and create a puzzle. And every year it's difficult, and last year we looked totally different. We had totally different players, so we had to play a different way. This year, this team has really come together and, bought into what I'm selling them, because a lot of the players on this year's team played a lot different than last year, and they're really bought in right now to what we're doing, so that makes it fun.
6 in a row, we turn the page. It's Courtside with Callie Wheeler, presented by Walker Brothers Chevrolet. serving northwestern Pennsylvania for more than 100 years. We talk Gannon when we come back.
Factory trained service, a full-service body shop that accepts all insurance, and honest, no-nonsense deals on all new Chevrolets and used cars. Come in and see for yourself why we've been here for over 100 years. Call, click, or stop out. Walker Brothers Chevrolet.
Bring together expert faculty. Offer programs in high-demand fields. Add in a few centuries of tradition. You might call it the future of higher education. We're calling it Pennsylvania Western University. We've combined the resources of California, Clarion, and Edinburgh to create a new way to educate, where opportunities are boundless and tomorrow is yours to define. Built on tradition, built for your future. Welcome to Penn West.
Welcome back. It is, in fact, Courtside with Callie Wheeler, presented by Walker Brothers Chevrolet, serving northwestern Pennsylvania for more than 100 years. A unique element. And I think that, and maybe this is a bad parallel, but we're on the heels of the college football national championship. Ohio State and Michigan is a great rivalry. If they weren't in the same proximity as they are, I don't know if it would be as much fun. There's a lot of parallel with Gannon and Edinburgh, especially in recent years. Right now, let's be honest, you gotta call a spade a spade. That's the glass ceiling you guys can all see. You know, Cleve Wright and company, since his return, that's who you have to go through. This year, no different. The one thing, though, that from my research and preparation for the game this week is I don't remember a Gannon team being able to win in as many different ways. They can drop a hundo on you, or they can, win a street fight in a phone booth and it'd be 40-40. This is a team, and it's odd because it's a mix of really young kids and really old players.
Yes, it is.
But they are really good. They're really dynamic, and I don't think there's not one thing. If we stop A, then we win the game. This is a very good opponent.
Yes, absolutely. And, Cleve Wright always does a great job teaching his players defense, and he realizes that if you want to be one of the top teams in the West, you got to be able to get stops and play defense. And you're right. I mean, they're one of the top 5 in scoring, and they are the best defense in the league. And we know that in going in and preparing, and we hope that we, cannot go in those droughts. And if we do go in those droughts, then we got to get stops. I think this game's going to come down to the battle of who's going to get the most stops.
Now, the one thing that I think is unique about this year's Fighting Scots, maybe you are a little more equipped, because I know that in years gone by when you wanted to run up and down, they were able to slow it down and big body you to death. Well, that may not be the case. All of a sudden, Callie Wheeler's got some big bodies to play a slow down pace and knock it down in the half court. Perisco feels like she's been there, since the Obama administration, but she's still really good. They're very unique in the fact that they can be big, or they can shoot it, or they can run up and down and score 100 points on it.
Sam Perisco is a tough matchup, and I mean that's the one ace that they have. When they need a bucket or they need a big play, it seems like she's always involved, whether it's the defensive end or the offensive end. So that's someone obviously going into it that's going to be a big factor. But they've got some nice young players that defend very well. They get up, and you're going to see a Gannon team that presses and extends the floor, and it's a little bit different than what they're used to, just packing it in and playing half court. So there's a lot of different dynamic in this game that is very unique, but I hope that we match up well and that we just trust the game plan and execute on Wednesday.
Now, this is one where maybe the old calculator and the math nerd might be consulted, because this is a team that does have some shooters that shoot at a clip that, maybe whether it's Claxton or Nation, there's no help today. You can't leave, because when you get into the mid-40 range of shooting from distance, that defender can't be a help defender because, we'll trade 2 for 3 in that instance, right?
And that's what makes them so good. They got an All-American in Sam Perosco inside that, one-on-one matchup with her, it's tough. She's going to win that battle. She's got great footwork, great moves, and then she's just surrounded by shooters. So, if you provide too much help inside, then they're not going to knock it down from the perimeter. So that's what makes them so good, and that's why they're top 3 in the country.
The other thing that I thought was rather impressive when you look at being able to score, being able to do all those things defensively, and then yet being locked in enough to force 22 a game turnover-wise, that's a big number. 347 turnovers. Of course, you don't always give up 22 a night. Sometimes it's 30 a night to get an average of 22. That to me is the stat that just jumps off the page.
Yeah, like I said, they're a team that's built on defense. This year they're stretching the floor. They're trying to speed you up offensively. And what I've seen on film so far is that, they're going to pick up full court, put some pressure on our ball handlers, and try to really negate us from getting into our sets, getting the ball where it's comfortable. So we got to do a good job of just planning and preparing for that pressure, taking care of the ball. We've talked about this all year. We've seen our success. If we take care of the ball, we're a really tough matchup.
And I wonder where, now obviously this is a game that it's unique because it's at home, and it's almost a sales pitch. If we win, now we're legit contenders. If we lose, well, they're number 3 in the country, but everything's still in front of us. But then UPJ on the backside of it, this is the grind that we always talk about. 1 turns to 2, and then God forbid 2 turns to 3. But this is what the West is.
Yeah, it's the Wild Wild West. That's what we call it. And, it's just getting started. That's the beauty of it is that, after UPJ, we have Mercyhurst and now UP, and then Seton Hill and Slippery Rock. So it doesn't get any easier. And I think going into Wednesday, this is the game for us. We have to come confidently ready to play the game and understand that we've worked really hard. I think, taking those losses early against some really good team have helped prepare us for this game.
Now, that's always the interesting, the chicken or the egg. Your record is what you are, but you don't really have losses that'll persecute you later down. If you handle your business that needs to be handled, I don't think you have any of those losses. But in terms of now and, glass being, totally full and things are all hunky-dory at the end, and you're not in a situation where you wish you didn't schedule up and you needed maybe another win or two, do you see now that we've turned the page into 24 that schedule has proved of value?
I think that schedule's been a blessing for us. I think we changed a lot of who we are, and we found our identity. Through those losses, we didn't dwell on them. We learned about ourselves. We learned about how we play and what most benefits us. And, if we take another loss, we're going to learn about ourselves in a humbling way. And I think that they were a blessing early on because we changed up a lot of things and we defined some roles. And I think a lot of people are playing their best basketball right now.
Now, the downside to this schedule, we're in a 3-game conference homestand. That's going to be 3 road games. Obviously, you gotta protect your building. You gotta win. And I expect there to be a really good crowd. Obviously, with Gannon. But how important will it be? And not even the opponent. I think in the back of your mind, you gotta win. If you win 80% at home and you win 60% on the road. By and large, that puts you in the upper third, and therefore you're seated. Is that about the form? Is that about the math?
In this league, it's tough to tell. Last year, it went down to the last game, where everybody was seated 1 through 5. So the league is so tough, and the only thing we keep talking about is we got to protect our home court. If we can win all of our home games and get some road kills along the way, then I think we're going to sit in a really good situation. But we just got to control what we can control, and if we can play our style, our way, and pick up some wins, then we don't have to really worry about all the calculations. But this is a very, very challenging and difficult league.
Certainly is. And of course, hopefully you can come on out Wednesday and Saturday. A couple more home games here at Macomb Fieldhouse. Coach Wheeler, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much, Joe.
All right, another episode of Courtside with Callie Wheeler, presented by Walker Brothers Chevrolet, serving northwestern Pennsylvania for more than 100 years.